It's the federal budget on Tuesday. You know, that's where the Treasurer gets up in Parliament at 7:30 p.m. to tell us how much he's planning to spend and tax us in the next financial year, starting on July the 1st. It'll probably be an especially boring budget this year because there's an election in a minute and I want to keep the good stuff for the Prime Minister in the campaign. But here's the number to keep in mind when or if you're listening to Jim Chalmers on Tuesday night. That's the most recent guess last December at the deficit for the coming financial year, 25-26, $46.9 billion. And that's up from $42.8 billion in the budget last May and $36.6 billion in the one before that. Now, that $10 billion increase has happened despite $361 billion worth of windfall improvements in revenue over the past 4 years. So the first thing to watch in Tuesday's budget is whether there's another upward revision in the forecast deficit for 25-26 and whether there are any more revenue windfalls. The other thing I'll be looking for is whether there's any sign of complying with the Trump administration's demand to increase military spending to 3% of GDP. Last year it was 1.8% of GDP, or $48 billion. And it's been trending down for 60 years, which has made room for lots of other spending, including the NDIS. If it was 3% of GDP next year, it would be about $79 billion, or $31 billion more than last year. But actually, if anything, we'd be talking 10 years to get it to 3%, by which time it would be $130 billion. It's all a bit awkward, really. There's so many other vote-winning things to spend the money on. And anyway, is China really going to attack us? And by the way, China spends $400 billion a year on its military. No point doing more than 2% of GDP and cutting somewhere else. That's plenty.